Let's say hello to the man himself, the institution, inside the institution, the one and only Peter Tuchman of TradeMas here at the NYSE. Thanks for being here as always.
Always a pleasure.
It's a short holiday week.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of earnings. We don't have a lot of data. We don't have a lot of volume overall, but what are you seeing on a day like today?
But you just described it. I mean, it's a spectacular day. With all of that lacking, right, which would normally be the catalyst to make the market go up or down on its own. You know, the market sort of is kind of, I don't think it's been trying to find its footing, but it's been trying to find what's going to be the next catalyst. And it almost didn't need anything. You know, it just sort of, it was like fresh money coming into the market, gold and silver hitting record highs. That was spectacular. That kind of, you know, even though that normally is a hedge against the market, usually it goes up when these things go down, it's just like everybody's just sort of buying. The confidence is back. We do have those entries, you know, we are in the midst of an interest rate cutting cycle. You know, we do know that we're going to get a new chairman who's going to be definitely more dovish, right? As you know, as per El Presidente's, you know, demand, and that's good, right? At the end of the day, higher rates for longer, you know, don't do anybody any good. And so you're coming into the end of the year. It's now sort of, you know, people are sort of, I guess, looking back over the last couple of weeks. They're looking at the spectacular Thanksgiving numbers on retail. That was solid, and across the board, you know, we're hitting record highs in so many things. Look, if the market closed the year today, it would have been a great year. We've had more than 48 record closes across the board. You said it, small cap, mid cap is super solid and good strength. The tech is back in play again. And so this, I mean, you can't say this is fresh money, but it just feels like the people are sort of positioning themselves, you know, into a great end of year.
This can be the time of year we see some window dressing. That happens. We see some tax loss harvesting. Low volume overall. We don't get a lot of those big catalysts in the final trading days of the calendar year like we have right now. What are you going to be looking for in the next couple weeks, the last weeks of 2025?
So just kind of what you just said, you know, whether it's, sure, I would say there's probably more profit taking than window dressing, and I think that's what we've seen the last couple of days. We had a massive S&P rebound on Friday, but it was non-directional. It's kind of curious. Those imbalances tend to be their trillion-dollar trades. It was the fourth biggest in history, and you know, net it's a flat trade because for every one there is to buy, they're going to be selling one. But normally they're very directional. This was not. It was literally across the board. We traded 3.8 billion shares on Friday, and it was literally the advanced declines were straight down the middle. That was extraordinary. So I'm seeing rotation. I'm seeing some profit taking with a little bit of window dressing as well. I'm seeing tax harvesting, and I'm just seeing a little bit of fresh money come into the market. At this point, you know what? People are sort of comfortable that the year end is going to be solid. You know, I think we're now going to try and get to the levels that we were hoping for, because the last couple of weeks have been a little anemic with a little, you know, it was a slightly, you know, you don't coast downhill, you know, I mean, you do coast downhill. It was not an aggressive way, but the way you saw it today, you know, 2-to-1 advances versus declines, it was a solid day across the board. Nothing but green on the screen.
I got less than a minute left. Santa Claus coming to town, maybe. Final 5 trading days of the year, first 2 of the new year. That kicks off Christmas Eve. What do you think?
I completely. I'm a big fan of Santa. I know Santa.
You do know Santa.
I've known him for 35 years, and he did give me a little wink in my ear that he is coming to town. You know, look, I printed up my S&P 7,000 hats and my Dow 50,000 hats. Whether we get there or not, I would love to see that happen. A big 7 in front of the S&P would be extraordinary. We are inching towards there. Surely above 49,000 on the S&P, on the Dow would be wonderful to close out the year. My gut is we're going to close them out right at the high.
Imagine having this conversation on Monday, April 7th, the lows of the Liberation Day. You and I were down here, and it felt like such catastrophe in the moment, and here we are on the doorstep of 7,000.
There's nothing catastrophic happening right now, and the door is closed for catastrophe.
Thank
Coming
goodness.
into the end of the year.
Thank goodness.
Although we are a tweet away from Crazy Town, remember that.
That's true.
So you never know.
A post on social media could rapidly change the narrative just as quickly.
It surely can, but I think we're confident now that the runway is clear, and I think we're off to the races.
Peter Tuchman of TradeMas, the institution inside the great New York Stock Exchange institution. My man, thank you for being here as always. What a pleasure to have you.